Good afternoon, everybody. It's that time of the day again when I've come to bother you all and say hello and see what's going on out there and see how everybody's dealing with the pending issues that are traveling and sweeping across Europe and the world. And so it's all right, Roy. How are you, mate? Cheers. It's only fizzy water, sparkling water. So, fortunately, it's not sparkling wine, although that might happen very soon. So yeah, just thought I'd jump on and say hello to everybody and see what's going on today and what's happening in everybody's world. And we've had a bit of activity here last night. We had the police down, the fire brigade, and an ambulance. So I'm not sure what happened, but maybe some stuff in the building next door. You know, maybe a drug raid or something like that. Who knows? And that's about it. Yeah, it's another day here in Italy, and it's another day of lockdown, and only available to go out and do those bare essentials that you have to do. And a lot of police around. Hey Angela, a lot of police around. Hey Lenka, a lot of police around patrolling the streets. There's still a lot of concern that there's still too many people out and about walking around, so they're really trying to manage that. I have to, a lot of people seem to be a little bit unclear and having, let's say, received a few messages. You are still permitted to be able to go to the shops, to get groceries, go to the pharmacy to get some things, get prescriptions and whatever. And whatever it is else that you need to go and get, you are permitted to go and do that. So of course, don't take the biscuit, and constantly out there. So, but you are permitted to do a certain amount of being out and about. And of course, you're allowed to walk your dog as well. That's if you have a dog, or you could have a fake dog and walk it. You could have a coronavirus dog, which is just like a stuffed toy on the end of a starched lead. Hey Sandra, how are you? And so there are certain things that you can and can't do, and ways of doing them. There's a couple of services around. The post men are still delivering, and the postal offices are still open, and of course people have to pay bills and little things like that. So services are open to be able to accommodate to do that, and banks are open. But a lot of things. Hey Corey. A lot of things are closing up by the afternoon. So many things open in the morning, but then by the afternoon. Jillian, how are you? They're closing by the afternoon. Really good point, by the way. Jillian, my friend, who's hey Gizmo, how are you? Hey Karen, Jillian, whom works in the medical services, in the health services in Belfast. I don't know, Gillian's quite high up there somewhere. I think she's at Musgrave Park Hospital. But she was telling me a little bit earlier that these masks are only good for 3 days, and that's it. Out they go. I think I've had this for about 5 years now, so, but I'm sure it still works, or it looks good anyway when it's on. So don't forget your masks, even if they are only 3 days. Make sure you go and get your masks. Hey Alison, how are you? Hey Roisin. Sorry, my ears were falling out there. And I'm wearing another cardigan today. And so this is, it's a cardigan with patches. A few people mentioned yesterday about my cardigan. I was wearing, did my dad know I had his cardigan on, but it wasn't my dad's, it was a millennial cardigan, like this is as well. This is a double-breasted millennial cardigan, in fashion as well. Oh, 3 minutes, Gillian, sorry guys, look at that. Gillian, who is in the NHS, the health services back at home, is saying these masks are really only good for about 3 minutes. Angie, how are you? Amy, welcome. Good to have you there. So, yeah, these masks are only good for about 3 minutes. That's Gillian, what's the reason? 3 minutes? Wow. What makes them only good for 3 minutes? Actually, that's a really good question. What makes these masks only good for 3 minutes? Because I'm really interested to know more about that. It's interesting. So I wanted to have a little, there's something I was going to talk about a bit later on, but anyway, I can't seem to locate what it was I was going to talk about. Damn. Let me try and find it and send it to myself. They stop. All they're doing is going to stop people sneezing on you, right? Okay, that's all they do. Is that it? That's it. They just stop people from sneezing. Yeah. They get very moist. Okay, interesting. And Gillian, what? Out of curiosity, what? Are there many people in Belfast at the moment wearing masks or rushing out? We've heard obviously about people flocking out to buy toilet paper and hand sanitizer and pasta, etc. Are people? Burko, hello, welcome. Are people rushing out to buy the masks as well in Northern Ireland? Is that a big thing as it was here and in other parts of the world? Is that how big an issue is that with the masks? Just going to try and send myself here a quick email. So apologies for being a little bit turning away from you all, but please keep listening and keep joining and keep putting any comments and thoughts up. Just get this out. And of course, the thing I'm trying to do was, I should have done this before I jumped on. Hey, Jane Fife, how are you? Gillian's up in Donegal, lucky her. She's not in Belfast at the moment, but only a few around in Donegal, yeah. Yeah, I mean, people, you know, there's various reports that the masks don't actually do much. But, you know, you're better to be safe than sorry, because a lot of people, hey Bernie, how you doing, mate? A lot of people are wearing them, and actually Bernard's at the Great Ormond Street Hospital in London. They're looking after a lot of the sick kids, and he's a good man, does a lot of work there with the children and helps out all those poor sick kids in Great Ormond Street. So Bernard, you know, obviously you're hoping that none of the medical staff in the hospital there get too sick, and because you of course can't afford to be losing staff members. And MOT, by the way, if anybody sees that, it means marching on together, and that's a Leeds United thing, because he's also a big Leeds United fan as well, so he is. So I just want to try and send this to myself if I can find it. And it was a very interesting email or message that I'd received, and I thought it was really worth pointing out a few things on this little blast or vlog or whatever you want to call it today. I thought it would be very interesting to read some of the things out, but I have to unfortunately send an email from that to that, and it's kind of a wee bit all over the shop. So Jane, what are you up to in Belfast? How's things? Are the kids off school yet? Are you still at work, or are you off work? Is the husband at work? What's happening with you at the moment? You know, so if I can get this email to send over to myself would be great. So yeah, what's happening in everybody's day today? It's been busy. We've been vlogging for a few days, and we've had quite a good number of people on board watching these posts and getting involved as well. So which has been great. Julie, how are you? Lorenzo, welcome. And I keep trying to have to look down to see who's online, and then look at the camera lens as well at the same time. So it gets a bit hard sometimes with the eyes, stretching the eyes, right? So I was just saying before, you know, it's I think we're in about day 7, about 7 or 8 of lockdown. I'm not sure exactly how many days, but in fact, actually, I think it's probably been about a week. The kids are off. Jane's working from home, and social distancing. That's a really good thing. Will social distancing become the new norm? Will it become the new thing? What are you doing tonight? Oh, I'm going out with some friends and we're social distancing. It'll be very interesting to understand how that goes forward. And it's very interesting. I wonder who came up with that word, social distancing. That's a great thing. Oh no, I'm social distancing now, you know. It'll be a new social media concept. It'll be a whole new platform for NEMs and stuff like that. So it'll be really good, you know. So there's Bernard was just saying he said he's at the Great Ormond Street Hospital. Welcome, Debbie. How are you, Debs? In London, and he said, "Oh, good man. No babies or kids affected yet, but we are ready as usual." Good man. Well, I know that you guys, the Great Ormond Street Hospital, is a very famous hospital and renowned hospital for looking after the sick kids, and you've been there a long time. So, how many years have you been there, actually? Hello, Mike. How are you, mate? Hope you're well. And Alison is self-isolating still. Dear. You know, it's so funny. A lot of the times when I read about self-isolating, I keep thinking people are saying self-loathing. So I'm kind of unsure if you're self-loathing or self-isolating. And so sometimes it's just the way I look at the word, and it's like, oh, I see something different. I don't know why my emails are not uploading. And but it was a really interesting email about Mother Nature. And I'm sure what a number of you have heard about over the past couple of days, called the reset button, has been pushed by Mother Nature. Very interesting thought process. But we'll obviously, I think, over the next many months, as this virus rolls out and rolls through across the rest of the world, there will be many conspiracy theories and many thought processes as to what it was all about, and why it was all about, and really what did happen. But it is a very, very interesting sort of thing. Kate's over there in Hutchinson, Kansas, and she's saying, I wonder if it'll bring people closer once it is lifted, because people missed hanging out with their friends. Kate, wouldn't that be fantastic if that was the case? And one of the things that, if I can get this email to finally get sent, it's really, we're seeing, and I'm sure you've all seen now in the past 24 hours, that for the first time in decades, there are dolphins swimming in and around Venice. You can see the fish in the canals in Venice. You have not been able to see that happen for many, many years, and that's phenomenal. Imagine that. There are people talking. There are reports of cleaner air over China in certain areas, because there's been less people going to work. There's been less cars on the road, and it's really amazing, to think if this has been some kind of really. I mean, we really don't know. We can only speculate and assume and have opinions. But wouldn't it be incredible if it was some kind of shape or form of reset button that Mother Nature was actually telling us to just wise up? We look out and we see the birds and the ducks and the swans happy and more relaxed, that they have all this, they've got their natural habitat back, and us humans are not out there. Bernard, have you been 23 years at the Great Ormond Street Hospital? Wow, that's brilliant, mate. Well done. There's Maureen up in Varese. Hey Maureen, how you do? Lorenzo's now in South Africa. Leslie, how are you? Hope you're well. Brian, Tina, and Susan says hello. Paul Campese, welcome. Donna's back in there. And yes, Brian, we should do that. And just out of curiosity, we'll do WhatsApp later on this afternoon. Once I finish this, I'll WhatsApp you, and we can have a bit of a chat, because I know my brother's spoken to you as well. But we'll have a wee chat after this. So Bernard, just going back to your point there, 23 years at the Great Ormond Street Hospital for Children in London, mate. That's a great service. Well done. And I know that, having spoken to you before, and I wasn't aware when we first met exactly what you did, but yeah, you're a good man for taking care of those little kids the way you do, And I don't know why this email I wanted to send to myself was not coming up. Let's see if I can get it up. Try again. But yeah, Kate, it's a very interesting point, and hey, who's to say that, this could be some shape or form of something to say, to get us to waking up and understand this world better than what we already, or how we don't understand it. But yeah, it could be something that we need to wake up and realize, we need to have cleaner air and cleaner waterways, and we need to have and do things and think things a little bit differently. And when we don't take care of the things around us that we should appreciate more, viruses like this get out and take over and destroy part of the human race. Hey Andy, how are you, mate? So it's very hard at times, to assess these situations and know what the real meaning or truth behind them all is. I always think that at times, when the Truman Show, the film with Jim Carrey, and I always feel that at times we are, being watched. We're a television show for aliens somewhere out there. They laugh at us. They're watching. We're droned, and they're watching us all the time, and they're laughing at us and what we do. So it's very interesting thought process. Anyway, I don't know why this email is not popping in, but yeah, there's not. We Italy had a very high death toll last night. We got the results in at 7 o'clock, and it was around, I think, the 468 people had died in the previous 24 hours. Excuse me. So we're waiting on that again tonight at 7. It's crazy to think that we sit here waiting for the result of a mortality rate. I mean, that's just crazy that we sit here and do that. It's like, it's there were gone are the days when you used to think, I'll see, you'll watch Friends or Sex in the City or whatever those shows are that you were watching. You think, I can't wait for the next episode. But you sit here in Italy at the moment looking to see what the next death toll is going to be, and that's pretty horrendous to think about it. Hey Karen, how are you? And so it's tough. It's very hard with a lot of the things that are going on around us and the changes that are going on around us, and the daily changes that are happening around us. And Stevie Prosser, how are you? Jeremy, hello mate. Jeremy's also from Hutchinson, Kansas. Stevie Prosser's in Dunmurry in Belfast. It's very changes that go on around us and how we will have to adapt. And it is kind of interesting, the new world that we will shift into, and it's these things happen. All right, Bill. So one of the other things, people are rushing out and getting toilet paper and bulk buying. One of the things I do want to point out, when you go to the supermarket and you get your receipts, if you run out of toilet paper, there's option number 2. So these things, we were thinking, what will we do when we run out of toilet paper? So we realized the receipt from the supermarket, because they're always long and you get a good crunch on them, or you can even tear them into like pieces, So don't throw those receipts out. Make sure you hang on to them, because they might come in useful over the coming weeks. Toilet paper in disguise, double-sided as well. And it's almost like 3 or 4 ply as opposed to 2 ply. So keep those receipts from the supermarket, And as new people join us, if anybody wants to add about the people from other parts of the world that are on here now, tell us what's going on in your part of the world. Hey Lisa, how are you? All right, Connor, good man. Thanks for checking in again, appreciate it. But what's going on in all your other parts of the world, folks? What's happening out there? Is there, of course we've been watching the news and reading the papers and understanding the things that are going on. But Jeremy, are you laughing at my option for the toilet paper, mate? Is that what you're laughing for? What's going on in your part of the world? I mean, we see things that they're rushing out, they're panic buying, the toilet paper. Rab in Moscow, hello mate. Are panic buying products and stuff off the shelf. I saw some, Jeremy, and Gizmo, I saw some shots the other day, some shots from Walmart the other day in Hutch, and some of those shelves were completely stripped bare. It was incredible. It was mad. And that's obviously happening globally. But what's the feeling in amongst the people? Are people panicking? Apart from panic buying, are people actually panicking? Are people really worried, concerned? Are they scared? Are they starting to stay indoors, even though they're not taking it all serious, but they are taking in some shape or form of precautionary measures? So tell me what's going on. What are people up to? If there's anything. And the other thing I thought was fantastic. I saw today that Bono, he has released a coronavirus single. A song, and I heard a little bit of it this morning. And hey Anne, how are you? And Kelly Morris, hello Kelly. Bono's released a song, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with the funds of the song, but I do believe the song was released in order to try and help bring people together. And it'll be interesting to see what he was getting slated quite heavily on social media yesterday by a number of people for doing such a thing. Or typical Bono, here he comes, is another song about the sadness of the world. But let's see what happens. I would assume that the funds, the money raised from the single, are going towards the victims and stuff like that around the world. So, but like I said, I haven't seen the full story on it as well, you know. So Jeremy from Kansas is just saying that there's no toilet paper here there, so receipts it is. Jeremy, go in, buy a load of groceries. The longer the receipt, of course, the more the paper, and good value for money. You know, make sure you get a good receipt. Stevie Prosser's talking about the big concern he seems to be jobs, wondering when businesses will reopen, will they still have work? Stevie, that's the big thing, communities in Belfast. That's a huge thing, you know, globally, Steve, and I've spoken to people over the last 24 hours in various parts of the world that are absolutely, you know, panicking and worried about what's going to happen. I know a number of bars in Belfast have been closing, and of course with those closures come, you know, the unemployment issues, and I know that one bar in particular, you know, a number of part-time staff, kitchen staff and everything, and unfortunately they had to make a decision to close because it's coming that they have to close everything, and so it's going to be very, very interesting exactly what's going on with the bars. But you know, when you have a staff of 27, wow, I mean that's just crazy. Imagine that's one bar with part-time and full-time staff of 27. Imagine that it's going to be 10 bars, 20 bars, 30 bars, 40 bars that are starting to close, and wow, that's a lot of people that are, you know, going to be unemployed. But that's happening across the world, and you know, for speaking to a lot of friends in the US, Australia, and other parts of Europe, UK and everything, yeah, it's a big concern. Now I know that the government are trying to organise packages for people, but you know, really, $1,000, which is what the White House is offering, it's people. $1,000 times 350 million or 360 million is a lot, but for the people getting the $1,000, it's $1,000 is really not a lot of money. It doesn't really do very much, but times at 360 million, and that's a lot of money. But they're already in the trillions in debt. This is just it's not gonna help. But you know, the reality is, had America listened to what was happening 3, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago in Europe and China, they may have been able to avoid such a catastrophe as what they're now facing. I think America's really worried about what's about to happen, and the signs are not good for it. And yeah, Mr. Trump again continues to deflect the responsibility and say it wasn't his fault, but because he's tremendous and he knows good people. Gillian talks about communities in Belfast are coming together and doing food parcels. Yeah, Gillian, that's I've been reading about that over the past few days, and I think it's great. You know, again, here's the thing: Northern Ireland, many of us that are on here have grown up with, you know, with the troubles, what we will call the troubles over the years. But it's great to see, and if the communities can come together, it doesn't matter what community, what colour your skin is, or what religion you are, but you know, let's go out there and look after each other. Let's look after people. Let's look after the elderly. Let's do what we can. And as I said, I've noticed a number of initiatives in various communities around Northern Ireland where they've been very supportive of getting food parcels to be able to take to the elderly, because you know, at the end of the day, guys, the elderly can't get out to get toilet paper and hand sanitizer and tin foods. And those that do, that push themselves to get out there, well, when they arrive, you know, there's nothing left on the shelf. You know, it's been taken by the vultures that have gone in before them. You know, so those are great. Yeah, those cross community, and it's great to see that. You know, we're just people. We're all human. We're all brothers and sisters, no matter who we are, what we are, or the color of our skin. Everything is irrelevant right now. You know, we just need to get out and support each other and be positive and strong for each other. That's what we need to do. You know. Kelly, yeah, Bono, no, agree, typically Bono, maybe his offshore accounts, yeah, probably. I'm hoping that, and I do believe that the money, I'm sure, he has enough, but the money raised from the single will probably go to help victims of the coronavirus. Like I said, I heard the song a little bit this morning, and so fingers crossed, if that's what the money's all going to do, that's great. And look, as much as we all love to not love Bono, you know, at the end of the day, he does all of these things, you know. Whenever there's a charity, he's on board, and but yeah, hopefully this will turn into a real positive as well, you know. So yeah, no, that's another thing, Kelly. That's been really interesting. The government in the UK have been very, very bad. Even in the US, they've been very, very bad about informing the people about what's going on. Now, the government still haven't ordered a lockdown from what I'm aware of on television and stuff, but Obviously the football leagues, the industry have taken a stance and said we're closing down, we're shutting down. And Ireland, the south of Ireland has done that. Northern Ireland, of course, falls under the UK, and those precautions have not been taken yet. Again, a number of people have said to me, that they believe that those precautions should have been taken already, and they haven't been, and that's been it's a bit of a a mismatch of information that's going on. And when you look at Johnson and you look at Trump, similar hairstyles. Boris Johnson's probably going to have orange skin very soon, but their mentality is very, very similar. They're kind of holding back until the last minute. I think they're hoping that it's just not going to happen. It's going to avoid us. It's going to go somewhere else. It's not going to be part of us. So, but that'll be, at the end of the day, and Johnson will deflect like Trump has done as well. Johnson will say, "Not my fault," and the people out there in the everyday marketplace are taking precautions and starting to change and decide that we need to do something because our government is not supporting us and giving us the right information. So hopefully that'll change very, very soon. All right, Joe in Chicago, mate. How are you, buddy? That was an Aussie accent. Stevie just said here his son Luke has been virtually laid off. He's a barman in Belfast. And Steve, it was your son, I think, that been winning some cocktail competitions and everything, yeah? I think I'm right in saying that. And it's, again, this is like, the bars and cafes have been shut here now for about 10 days. And it's horrendous. I mean, and some of these cafes and bars are so small, a few tables, and they rely on coffee and croissant. And and a wine business. That's it. It's coffees, croissants, and wines for a lot of these little bars, and they're shut. They've been shut 10 days. Luckily, the government have stepped in, and they're covering the rents of these places. They're helping these people with bills, and so on. But the staff don't have any income. They're not going to have an income. That's going to be a big problem. So sorry about Luke, Stevie, but yeah, it's just horrendous that we have to get to the stage where, bars have to close. A couple of weeks back, we were laughing, having to stand a meter apart from each other in a bar. We were laughing. Now the bars are closed. That's another thing. Guys, honestly, as this rolls out, and these videos that these vlogs that I do, they're not to put the fear of God into anybody. It's just the circumstance that's here, and that we're living at the moment here in Italy. 3 weeks ago, 11 people in Italy had this virus. And we were watching the TV going, oh yeah, whatever, it's another flu. And then it picked up a little bit. We became an orange area because more people around this region started getting the virus. Then we had a couple of loose restrictions put in place. Then there was the stand a meter away from someone at a bar. You've got to stand back a meter from a counter. And it's just kind of it's just been like, it's like a snowball. I was saying yesterday, and it's like a snowball. It's just been gathering momentum as it rolls down the hill to become bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's been rolling all the way out across Europe. So it's we did not expect this to be happening. We did not expect to be standing a meter away from people in a bar, let alone bars getting completely shut down, so you can't even go out. Let alone being told you can't leave your house. You have to stay in your house, and that's it. You got nowhere else to go. So it's scary. I hope it doesn't. I keep saying this. I hope it doesn't escalate into the UK and the US and Ireland as it has here. I hope it doesn't. I hope to God it doesn't. But the inevitable is it's looking like it will. So just do be ready for it. But it's very difficult to understand what the next steps are going to be. And again, when you're not getting that information from the governments and you get people running around you. And people posting, which is one thing that really annoys me, people posting continuous panic posts. You got to stop that, because that makes it worse than the virus actually, is. And, all these panic posts that start appearing on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and whatever, all this social media, and people, the virus becomes bigger and bigger because of all the panicking that's going on with all these posts. So if we can post positivity, even though there's a negative side to it, but let's be positive. Let's try to be positive as much as possible. You know, that's the best thing we can do. Mike was just there in Waitrose, limit of 3 of any items, still lots of empty shelves. So yeah, I think Mike, I guess the supermarkets are opening early to let elderly people come in and get preference at getting some products if they're there. But I'm sure the supermarkets are probably opening earlier overall and closing a bit later. I'm not sure, but yeah, still 3 products per person. But yeah, there's no food on the shelf by the time you get there. So, and I know Waitrose is, you know, I love some of the Waitrose foods are great. You know, Joe, my pleasure. You know, I appreciate that people like yourself. You're in Chicago. You're from Belfast originally, and you're a great musician. And Joe's got some great music there online. Everybody should be checking out Joe Cassidy. Yeah, no, I appreciate you watching. Thank you, and thank you for your feedback and your comments, and the fact that these, you know, I'm glad to have people on board that watch these and join in and throw questions, because this is not about, it's about all of us coming together, you know, and trying to help each other and support each other and see if there's anything that anybody can help anybody with. And every little bit helps, Joe is saying there. And you know, I guess you know, very unfortunately that where I am, we're getting it firsthand, and you know, the onslaught still has to arrive in the UK, Ireland, US, etc. I just hope it doesn't. But you know, as I said, judging by things going, it's, you know, it's one of those things. You just got to get used to staying indoors. And if you're not playing Fortnite, go and get an account with Epic Games and start playing Fortnite. I recommend it. You know. Is Italy, Bill's asking, is Italy playing You'll Never Walk Alone on the radio stations tomorrow? 7:45 seems to be growing. All right, Bill, I don't know that, because we have iTunes or Spotify, or we might listen to some of the digital radio stations, you know, so I'm not sure about that there, but I certainly won't be singing You'll Never Walk Alone, because I follow Leeds United, mate. You Scouser boys can have your songs, but if that's what they're doing, that's great. You know, that's a really good thing. There's been, obviously, I'm sure you've seen it again on the news. You've seen people singing songs from balconies and apartments all over Italy, and it's been great. Some of the video clips, and it's just, you know, going back to earlier what Kate Sutton was saying earlier. It's about bringing people together, and it's a wonderful thing to see these people getting on the balconies and singing. And other people are joining in, and then people bring out an instrument and join in and play. It is fantastic, because we've forgotten in many, many ways how to be real people and do real things, and we've forgotten about those values of being. I mean, look at me. I've got my telephone in front of me. I've got my computers and whatever around here, but we kind of have forgotten how to be sociable with each other, and that's the most important thing. And again, maybe it's Mother Nature's way of saying, get out and be people again, be human, have a life. You need to rid yourself of all of this technology. But then if we didn't have the technology, I couldn't do these videos, and I couldn't have you all, you know, watching and thinking what a dick he is, this guy, you know. So Rab, can you get, yeah, Rab, that's Rab saying about, can we get any alcohol here? Yes, we can, and we do. And here you tend to buy, you know, nice plastic gallon containers of wine for, you know, 20 euros or 25 euros. And but yes, wine, alcohol. Alcohol is actually the one thing in all the supermarkets and stores that there's still plenty of, you know. So you can get alcohol. Hey Elaine, how are you? Anne is just saying she's just in from Dunn's. You have to stand 2 meters apart now, so hopefully the shops will stay open. So. Yeah, you know, again, here there's only 2 people at any one given time allowed into a shop, bread store, grocery store, whatever it is. Some shops are just 1 person per time, and the supermarkets have a ticketing system for you to take a ticket and stand outside until it's time to get called inside. And post office is the same, 2 people, I think, sorry, 1, 2. Well, the post office, depending on how many people are working at the counters, but it's 1 person per space at the counter. They now have these glass barriers up in the post office here between the attendee and the customer as well. But yeah, it's so Dunn's are saying it's 2 meters apart now. Yeah, well, it was a meter here, and yeah. So Jeremy's saying they're in Hutchinson, Kansas, so people are pretty calm here right now, besides buying everything in sight, just preparing to hunker down and stay at home. And and that. Yeah, Jeremy, mate, if you want to pop down to Smedley's later and do a live cast from the pool table, I'll be watching you. We had some fun nights in Smedley's, didn't we? Didn't know what shape we were in when we were leaving. Hey Lotus, how are you? Hope you're well up in Ballymena and painting up a storm. Everybody, Lotus Kane is a painter. She lives up in Ballymena. She's got some beautiful art that she does, and some beautiful paintings that she's doing. She has them on Facebook. Some of her work is absolutely fantastic, and it's beautiful, and she's getting a lot of recognition for it now. She also writes a lot of her own music, and she has a song that she released a few years ago that was never properly released or accepted into the world, and it's still to this day is one of the greatest songs ever written. It's called Medicine, and it's absolutely fantastic. Everybody should own a version of Medicine. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, and I do believe it's available on iTunes, and I'm sure you can find it on Spotify as well. Hey Karen, how are you? Karen actually posted earlier there today as well. I think it's about a Lisburn organisation, coronavirus help service through Facebook, that's going to help the elderly and help people if they've got any issues and problems and stuff like that. So I saw that post earlier, Karen. Thank you. That's great. I'll share that as well. And that's a really, really good service that people have set up. And it's one of the things I really like about Community Spirit is really good in many, many parts of the world, if not all the world. But I know that there are certain areas that people are, getting out there and doing the panic thing and pushing people out of the way. But for the most, I think the communities around the world have been very, very good and very smart and very giving, and that's great, Joe, you've witnessed him. That's great, Joe. It's a really nice comment there about Bono, and I'm sure that, you know what? I think whilst we all laugh at Bono at times, and we all think, oh yeah, here goes Bono again. But you know what? I think he's got a heart of gold, and I think he's very genuine about what he does, and physically going out there and helping. He doesn't need the money, or doesn't need the adulation, or doesn't need the the likes on Facebook or Instagram at all. I don't think he's after that. I think he genuinely cares and goes out and tries just to do something for it because he can. And so like I said, have a listen to the song. I'm sure that's where the money's going to go, but check it out and hey, download it, buy it, and it's only going to be $1 or $1.29. And that certainly can help a lot of the issues and problems. Although, mind you, in saying that, what I'm saying about Bono, which is a gracious thing that he's doing, the governments are responsible for this shit that's going on. And, the governments are liable for support and help the people, not Bono and not anybody else, but the governments are the responsible parties for this, not having proper systems and the wheels in motion to deal with this issue that's taken off. So anyway, Elaine says her son's adult centre is closing tomorrow, having great fun trying to explain why. And so David's he's a great character actually, so he is. And he's an autistic kid, great, smart, amazing artist, and big Disney fan as well. So yeah, Elaine's just saying that her the centre's closing down tomorrow. So Leon, hello mate, in Los Angeles. G'day mate. I don't know why I'm doing an Australian accent. And Leon's from Birmingham, and he lives in LA. But anyway, hello Leon. Mike's telling us that all large events have been cancelled in the UK. Yeah, that seems to be just a snowball effect globally, Mike. Everything, concert shows, tours, just bang. And actually, funny enough, Leon, who's just posted there before you, who's just watching, Leon works in the events and concert platform, and so I'm sure he'll be feeling it at the moment in Los Angeles, and for a lot of the cancellations of a lot of shows and things that would have been locked in and about to go forward. But I'm sure Leon's feeling it now, and again, that's not just about Leon feeling it, but he's got a staff that'll feel it, and he's got freelance people that'll feel it, and he's got bills to pay for all of that equipment that he owns, and it's very, very hard to, I don't think we ever really truly prepare for situations like this, because we believe that the people we vote into power are the right people to be able to protect us from these moments and times. But I think now we're proving that in a lot of, maybe they're not, or they are not prepared for these moments. They get elected, they get put into power, and they just ain't prepared to help the people out when it comes to it, So So, hey Steve, Elaine, bars and restaurants closing here now. Chemists only allowing one at a time. Yeah, that's the same thing here, Elaine. Yeah, it's getting very, very. The chemists and grocery stores, which include supermarkets, are the only things that are open. And Joe saying the key word here is I shouldn't have tried to pronounce that, Joe, because of my eyes. Why can I not pronounce that word? I'm going to pass on that. I can't even pronounce the word, Joe. Can you break it down? Can you do some syllables for me? Exponential. Why am I having difficulty saying that? Hey, Amber in Texas, how are you? Hey, Joanne in Belfast. Joanne, I was talking to Jerry earlier on. So a few words on the keyboard with Jerry back in Belfast. Stevie, Stevie Prosser's just saying, good to have the information, great. And Steve's saying he thinks that Northern Ireland is probably 2 to 3 weeks behind Italy, and that's probably a reality. I think that's we're watching now China and the reports from the Far East coming that things are clearing up, and their cases are dropping and everything's going down and down, and businesses are going back to work and everything. So we're probably, I would have to think and hope that Italy's very, very close to its peak, and we're hoping, and that we can very soon start seeing the changes that will come after this. But yeah, I mean, of course, for other countries that are in that line, and for the UK, it's hard to think, Steve, where we are now after 3 weeks of this being happening here in Italy, and that you haven't even got there yet. And that's hard to believe and hard to comprehend and hard to think. It's a really weird, it's a very, very surreal experience, continually surreal. Bye, Gillian. Catch you later. Thanks so much indeed for being here. Hey, Janelle. How's things in Janelle's in New Mexico, and Janelle does a lot of work with political campaigns in the US, so she's been very busy at the moment. And if anybody out there is in the US, Janelle was just working for Bloomberg. She's now not, but hey, Joe Biden, she's available to work for you. Janelle Carden is available to work for Joe Biden if you're there. Joanne, why are you laughing, Leeds? Phil, seriously? Leeds United. There's only one Leeds, and we have to go up this season. Monty's watching there. Monty's from Scotland, lives locally as well. He's one of my mates here, and we were chatting earlier, so he's still trying to find he spent pretty much 3 days trying to get back to Italy from Spain, and with all the cancellations and everything that were going on, it was an absolute disaster. In amongst that, he lost his bag. Well, someone took his bag, and then realised he'd made a mistake, brought his bag back. Now he's having trouble getting his bag back. So his bag's in Switzerland, having a great holiday, eating lots of chocolate, and he's back here in his apartment in confinement, and the guy that took his bag is probably off drinking red wine with his girlfriend somewhere. So hope that bag comes back soon. Liz, how are you doing? Charlotte across the bridge. Charlotte lives on the west side, so we're not allowed over the west side. There's going to be a barrier built, and we're going to start having fights across the Ponte Vecchio, Charlotte. I'll see you with my swords and my spears. Hey, Jana, welcome. Thank you for joining us. There's Joe's in there. Hey, Tracy, how are you? Hey, Roy. Roy's now speaking to Leon. Roy Luster is on the East Coast, and he's speaking to Leon on the West Coast. Hey, Alison, how are you? Joanne, some shops, yeah. That's interesting. Joanne is just saying some shops here are charging ridiculous prices. Heard about a pensioner being charged 11 quid for a pack of 4 toilet roll. That doesn't surprise me. And it's funny enough, a couple of places around here, I was saying the other day, a couple of places I've noticed the prices have changed or increased. I'm thinking that normally was maybe about 50 euros, but that was 74 today. It's like, that's interesting. So you kind of, yeah, it's kind of interesting. And look, in moments of need, those shops will put those prices up because they're about to close for 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever, 7 weeks. So they're trying to make their budget over the next few days or the next week. But it's wrong that they do that. They shouldn't have to do that, and especially putting it up for the pensioners, that's not a good thing at all, So yeah, it's horrible to think that and to do that, you know. Hey Debbie, how are you? Mark, Davey Fisher, hello mate. Thanks for subscribing today. Folks, by the way, before I forget, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to my little channel in there that I've started, and I put all these videos up there and all the videos that I make about the things going on in Italy, and a couple of other really interesting little bits and pieces up there as well. So, and so YouTube, it's Phil Clark, Random Perspective on YouTube. So jump in there. But someone did give me a really good name that I might change the Clark to, which was absolutely hilarious. It made me laugh, actually. They give it to me. It was an English guy gave it to me last night, Jimmy Rock, who's living it up on the beach before he comes back to the UK. So I might change the name, but I won't tell you what it is. I'll change the name, and then you can go and have a look. Janelle, not a problem at all. You're a very good person. You do a great job there, and you know, apart from your husband, away from your husband a lot, and you got 3 kids, and you guys are great. You know, Janelle's just asking, why have they said why Italy was hit so hard? No, do you know, it's really funny. I must look into that a little bit more, because it's been, here's me touching my face, and I shouldn't be, but I have used hand sanitizer. There's a lot of crossover with the Italian clothing industry and China, and a lot of companies are merged and work very closely with the Chinese. So the only thing that I can say right now is that there was something to do with, because Wuhan is not Hoo-ha, but Wuhan is a district where the disease has evolved from, and because of the connection with the industries and stuff like that, I'm led to believe that there was a really you know, a lot of Chinese people here in northern Italy, because in Milan, in and around Milan, is where all of the commercial offices are for a lot of the Italian companies. So companies like Diesel and Benetton, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Gucci, I think Chanel's French, sorry. But a lot of the Italian companies, they may have their offices in Florence or Rome or whatever, but their commercial offices, their business offices are in Milan. And that's where a lot of the trading and the business deals are done. So I'm thinking that along those lines, that's one of the reasons why that's happened, you know. So anyway, look, folks, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump off here. A couple of other things I got to go and do. Just before I depart, for those of you that missed it, if you're in dire need of toilet paper, your supermarket receipts make a fantastic, perfect replacement. So don't be scared to keep those receipts. You can tear them into little strips, and like I said, when you feel the receipt, it's almost like a 5-ply as opposed to a you know, a 2-ply piece of paper. And but yeah, keep those receipts. Although, mind you, the ink might wipe off when so maybe you'll end up with a couple of ink spots on your bum. I don't know, I'm not sure, but keep those receipts. Anyway, folks, thanks for joining. I'm going to stick my head back on a wee bit later on, and I really appreciate you taking the time to put some comments up and give me your thoughts and your feelings, and join me and let me waffle and ruffle on to you. Take care out there, guys, and yeah, just make sure you're looking after yourself and your dear ones, and yeah, don't take it too lightly, you know. Brilliant. Take it easy, guys. No, Joanne, before I go, it's not actually, it's soft. Maybe put it under the sink for a wee bit. Catch us later, folks. Bye.